To learn how to play pool, I started secretly copying every move the champion made. I foolishly believed that if I copied everything, I would become the next champion. I watched the man practice a straight shot with the cue ball. So I tried to do the exact same thing. I lined up the ball and bent down, but it was obvious the cue stick in my hands was like a wild piece of wood. The cue ball bounced all over the table. Right then, that champion walked over. He did not chase me away for sneaking a lesson. He simply adjusted my stance a little, and something unbelievable happened. The next second, the cue ball acted like it had eyes and rolled straight back to the tip of my cue. Then the champion seemed tired. He casually grabbed a towel and covered his face and took a break. Out of curiosity, I found a handkerchief and copied him by covering my own face. A few minutes later, when I pulled the cloth off and opened my eyes, my whole gaze had changed. My focus that used to be scattered felt like it had been filtered through that fabric, and it became razor sharp. The champion immediately saw my potential. I had natural feel for the table. Right, then he decided to take me as his student. With his coaching, my skills improved faster every single day, but real life always comes with misunderstanding. Lately, I had been coming home very late, and my mom started getting suspicious. One day, she quietly followed behind me and saw me walk into a pool hall. My mom exploded on the spot. To her, a place like that was full of bad influence, and no kid should ever be there. The next second, she tried to drag me out. My dream was about to die right there, but the quiet man stepped in and blocked her. He dropped all pride as a champion and begged her not to crush a boy's talent. He said if she gave me a little time, one day I would become a world champion. Maybe his sincerity moved her, or maybe she saw the hunger in my eyes, but my mom finally gave in and agreed to let me keep learning. A few months later, I signed up for a snooker championship, and to everyone's shock, I stood out from every other player and made it all the way to the finals. Then the day of the final match arrived, and my opponent was the reigning snooker champion. He did not take me seriously at all. He thought the win was guaranteed, but the moment I stepped up, I showed talent that shocked the whole room. And I stayed right on his score that made the champion feel real pressure. But under that pressure, I started getting nervous. I made mistake after mistake and handed him free points. Then right before the last frame began, I did something nobody expected. I pulled out my handkerchief in front of everyone and slowly covered my face. The entire crowd froze. Nobody knew what I was doing. A few minutes later, I ripped the cloth away and walked back to the table, and my whole presence felt different. In that moment, there was no opponent in my eyes, there was no crowd, there was only the final shot in front of me. With the last black ball on the table, I bent down, and with a crazy difficult draw shot, I sent the black ball clean into the pocket. The room went silent for 1 second, then it erupted into thunderous applause. That arrogant champion set his cue down, and with real respect, he bowed his head and admitted defeat. I won, not only the trophy, but also everyone's respect, because deep down, every one of us has a handkerchief like that in a world full of noise. Only when you learn to cover your eyes at the right moment and shut out the distractions can you open them again and see the real target that belongs to you. The person who learns how to stay quiet inside is the most dangerous opponent. A true master is always competing with himself.